Okay, are we live? I think we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. I was about to say Tuesday. I caught myself. Welcome to the Midweek live stream. And this week is Let's Chat Stitches. So we have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So welcome in. I'm just going to give it a moment for everybody to come in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Very glad to have all of you here. So it's not going to be exclusively Let's Chat Stitches. I have a few things that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into Let's Chat Stitches. I do have a whole thing. I have some swatches that I'm bringing back that I'm going to showcase like different stitches. And then I have some diagrams here to show you. And then we have crochet trivia. And then I have other things. So hopefully this is of interest to you. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, let me see here. Perfect. All right, so we're good. I guess I want to start out with this. Coffee, favorite drink, all the things. Make sure you have your favorite drink in tow, your favorite project. Maybe you're working on a whip and you're just putting us on for background noise. I love that for us. And so yeah, I made a fresh pot of coffee just 15 minutes ago. So this is piping hot. I need a sip. Very, very good. Love that for us. Well, for me especially, because it's good coffee. So let's see here. I do have the replay chat turned on for those of you who come back to watch the replay. So if you're a replay warrior, you can watch the chat and see everything that's been said. So I think that is great. I just saw your comment, Trish. A big boxy coffee. I love it. It's so, so good. So I guess I will jump right into the first thing here. So I receive these kits and I showcase them to you guys every time they come in from Mary Maxim. So we've got the crochet kits, we've got the knit club kits and all of that. And I believe I showcased this kit to you guys a while ago, and I haven't really brought it for just because it was in timeout. It was one of those timeout projects. And so I want to show you guys my progress on this. Here it is. I'm just going to grab the recipe. It's a pattern. Well, recipe. So this is it right here. The Country Pathways Afghan. And so I believe I showcased this. I think I showed you guys this before, and when I showed it to you, it was pretty small by all accounts, I think. Anyway, they suggest a 5.5 US letter I crochet hook, and I was using a 5.5 US letter I clover hook, but I'm in my Susan Bates era, right? So I decided to pull the I hook, Susan Bates, and I started working with this, and then I realized it's different sizes. So we spoke about this before. Just because it's an I hook doesn't mean the stitches all come out the same size. So I actually had to hook down. The stitches come out bigger with Susan Bates as opposed to clover. I realized that, for me anyway. So I hooked down to an H hook, a 5.0, and now the stitches are coming out the same size as the clover 5.5 US letter I. So just piece of advice out there to you guys. If you're switching hooks, make sure that the stitch heights are exactly the same. You may have to hook up or down depending on the hook you're changing to. So I've actually hooked down to a 5. Anyway, so as I'm working through the recipe, I just want to show you guys this. I have a tendency to check the boxes as I go. I don't think I'm allowed to show you like the actual recipe, but you can see all the check boxes. So as of right now, I am on round number 28. So 28, I'm nearing the end. Let me show you the picture here. So the way that this is laid out, you have a square in the middle, and then you add panels to the top and the bottom of this square, and then it becomes a rectangle. So that's how this goes. It's a rectangular blanket, but it begins as a square. So I'm almost finished the square portion before moving on to the panels for the top and the bottom, which, if you can see, it's the granny stripe, the panels right here, the granny stripe panels. So once I get this square done, it'll be smooth sailing, I feel. I think. I do have to tell you something about this particular pattern that I do not like at all. And I'll get on the soapbox, I'll share the things with you, and then I'll get off the soapbox because it's very annoying, this thing. So the pattern, the way that it's written, it makes you keep a color on the blanket while working another color. So then you're going in the round with one color, and then the old color is still attached to the blanket. And you're using a stitch marker to hold the loop in place until you come back around, and then you have to tie off the color that you're currently using and then pick up the old color back. Let me show you. So this is what mine looks like so far. And if you see, I've got both colors on the blanket. And as of right now, I've got the white held with a stitch marker right there. So it has to stay on the stitch marker so that when I attach the purple and I go around with the purple, and it's telling me to cut off the purple, carry up the white, and then use a slip knot and slip with the purple again the next row. I don't know why it's doing that, but anyway, it's really nice nonetheless. When you lay it down, it does lay flat as a square. So I felt like there was ruffling happening, but no, it's just a me thing. So this is where I'm at with it so far. Very, very nice. And I still have all of the balls that it came with. It came with 9 skeins of yarn. So let me just show you this. So it's wrapped like the Value Pound Plus. And I remember telling you guys just a few days ago, like, listen, if you get skeins that look like this, you should cake them up first. Because if you don't cake them up, it's just a hot mess inside here. These smaller ones really aren't much of an issue. But the bigger these get, the more of an issue the inside is. Anyway, so the yarn I'm using is Miri Maxim Maximum Value. So over 450 yards, 8 ounces. It says over 450 yards. Well, do we have a specific yardage count? Approximately 474 yards. So I guess they say, oh, that's about it. That one's done. Okay, so this is medium purple that I'm working with right now. And the white color, is it just white? It's Aran. So already the ball band slipped off. It's just hanging in between. It's kind of messy, but anyway, I'm excited to finally move the needle on this. So I'm going to showcase this again on Friday because I plan on putting this back on the hook tonight after this live stream. So I'm going to continue working on this, and then I will show you my progress update on Friday as one of my works in progress. So I've been trying to pull out my UFOs, and I'm starting to work on those little by little. I'm trying to slow down on starting new projects. I'm really trying to focus on my UFOs, my whips and things, because I would really like to have as little as possible so that in the future I can create all the things, right? Because at some point we have to say to ourselves, yeah, we've got all these whips, but like, when are we going to actually do them? You know, if you're not going to do them, get rid of them. But if you're going to do them, let's have a plan in place. So this is said plan in place. I'm just doing it. We're just going to do it. So that was the one thing that I really wanted to show you guys today because, you know, I do get these kits. I do work them. I don't always show them on the channel though, because I try to save a little something for myself because everything, literally just about everything I do, I showcase to you guys. These kits were for the longest time the one thing that I did off camera for myself. And then, you know, I'd be proud as punch holding my work, you know, and then I said, you know, let me share some of the things. So there you go. Sharing some of the things. I don't want to lose this hook. Okay, so let's move on to Let's Chat Stitches. Who is excited for Let's Chat Stitches? I know I am. I look forward to this every 2 weeks. It's very exciting for me because as a tutorialist, it's really nice to be able to interact with you guys where, you know, I can actually see your comments and not just record, post, and that's it, you know? Super excited about this. And so I do have kind of sort of a layout as to what the plan is. I did have my sheet. Where did it go? Hold that thought. If I have to reprint it, I will. I printed out a sheet. I typed it out and everything. Where is it? Where did it go? Hold on. Hold that thought, guys. Where did you go? Don't worry. Have no fear. I'm actually just going to go ahead and reprint it. You may hear the printer, guys. I'm sorry in advance. Okay. Let me come back. We're back. All right. So you may hear the printer, but just know those are the things for what we're doing. So let me show you this. Can anybody tell me what this is? Someone said under the blanket. Let me see. No, not under the blanket. Blank sheets of paper, notes from last week. I know. It's okay. The printer's printing. We're good. So I want to know if you guys can tell me what this is. I showcased this last time. Does anybody remember what this is? What is this paper trying to show us? Can anybody tell me? This is a slip knot, yes. And a slip knot is kind of sort of what we do in crochet to start our projects. The vast majority of what we do in crochet begins with this. This is the beginning. This is called a slip knot. I'm still not acclimated to the left and the right. So I'm right now, like I'm holding my hand to my right, but when I look at my computer, I'm seeing it on the left. We have it that way, so everything is correctly shown to you guys. Anyway, this is the slip knot. Very, very good. Okay. We printed. Okay, let me grab it. Perfect. Okay, the next thing, I just want to get these out of the way. Can anybody tell me what this stitch here is on this diagram? What is this stitch right here? There's a series of 7 double crochet stitches. What is just this stitch right here? What is that called? Can anybody tell me? I'll give you a hint. It begins with an S. Let's see. We've got cluster. We have fan, shell. If you said shell, you have it correct. Now, I did see someone mention a fan. There is a stitch that looks similar to this that is a fan. Can anyone tell me what the difference is between a shell and a fan? It's just a one-word answer. Can anybody tell me? There's one very distinct difference between a shell and a fan. I'll give it one more second. So I will tell you a fan has chains in between the stitches. If you look at like various pattern books, you will see like that fan stitch. It's got like double chain, double chain, double chain, double chain, double. And it's called a fan. Yep. So very, very nice. Anyway, can anyone tell me what this here is? What is that? What am I pointing to right now? Can anybody tell me? This is a stitch. This is an actual stitch right here. Single crochet. Yes, the plus is a single crochet. And here's a tricky question. If you've been watching Let's Chat Stitches, you kind of sort of know the answer to this already, but I feel compelled to ask anyway. Okay. Are the chains being counted as stitches in this diagram? And more specifically for the double crochet stitches. For the double crochet stitches, are the chains being counted as a stitch? Does anybody have an answer? And I'll just point them out to you. This right here and this right here, are they being counted as a stitch? If you said yes, you are correct. Now, here is the other question to this. Are the single crochets in this diagram being counted as a stitch? Are the chains here next to the single crochets being counted as a stitch? And we have a couple of them here. We've got one here, we've got one right here, and we've got one right here. Let me see. Correct. Okay, so if you guys said no, you are correct because it's not in line with the pattern. It's sticking out. That means it doesn't count. It's not being counted as a stitch. Very, very good. You guys are so good at this. I didn't come prepared. I was expecting you guys to, be like, I don't know, Juan, you need to tell us all the things again. Are the chains being counted as a stitch in this diagram? Yes or no? Are the chains being counted as a stitch in this diagram? And I see a bunch of yeses. So if you said yes, you're absolutely correct. They are being counted as a stitch. I do have one diagram I've shown you guys before where they were not counted as stitches, the double crochets, but I feel like you guys have already seen that at least 55 million times. Let me see here. Here it is. There's a reason I'm showing you this one. I'm going to answer for you. These are not being counted as a stitch, right? Because they're sticking out. But can anyone tell me the two chains, since they're not counted as stitches, should they be 3 chains? Or is it okay to keep them at 2 chains because they're not counted as a stitch? Does anyone know that? Does anyone know like what the rule is with that? Should it be 3 chains or should it be 2? Okay, so if you said it's okay to keep it at 2 chains because it's not being counted as a stitch, you're absolutely correct. It's perfectly okay. Actually, that's the preferred method. If you're not counting it as a stitch, do not chain to the height of the stitch. You should only chain to the height of the stitch if you're counting it as a stitch. Yep. So many patterns, when you look at them, that's kind of one of the key indicators that you want to pay attention to when you're looking at diagrams specifically. You look at the diagram, if you see these chains sticking out, verify in the written description that they're not being counted as stitches. Because if you have chains hanging off the side like this, and they're saying that it's being counted as a stitch, well, something's not right about that pattern, because the pattern should read exactly as you see it in the diagram. Okay. So it's always good measure. It's a good practice to not only look at the diagram if there is one, but also read the directions and make sure that the directions kind of spell out what you're looking at in the diagram. Because if they're not matching, I would try to figure that out first before spending your time actually crocheting it, because we all know this is a slow craft. We don't just magically make things happen in an instant. So if we're going to invest our time in a project, let's make sure that all of our ducks are in a row, right? So yeah, very good, guys. So good. All right, so I have some swatches here that were donated to me from Kim. We saw these before. I'm bringing them back just as a recap. I want to make sure that you guys can identify what the stitches look like from eyesight. A lot of times we look at the words on paper, we look at the diagrams, but how many of us can actually look at a swatch and know exactly what stitch that is? So the point of all this is to be able to identify just from sight like what these stitches are. And I think the vast majority of us can look at work and know exactly what stitch is being used, but practice makes permanent, so why not? You guys are getting so good at this. If you get too good, I won't be able to do Let's Chat stitches. You guys will already know all the things. Okay, so going forward with Let's Chat stitches from here on out, I will have a small little segment implanted into our Let's Chat Stitches session where we're going to have crochet trivia. So, I mean, I've got tons of things that I can ask you guys, true and false, multiple choice, all the things. So I have 12 questions here, and the vast majority of them are true and false, just to keep it a lot easier for you guys. You know, if it's true, hit letter T. If it's false, hit letter F, that kind of thing. So I have 12 questions here, and I have 4 categories. So I have history, I have techniques, I have tools, and then I have fun facts. So I just kept it short, 3 questions per category. I think that's enough for each week because I don't want to just flood us with like all of the things. So we'll get into crochet trivia in just a moment. I want to go through these swatches, and I want you guys to tell me if you know the stitch. So this segment's going to be called Guess the Stitch. Guess that stitch. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. And before I start, a special thank you to Kim for not only crocheting these for me, but sending them to me. I showcased these squares before, but these are great reference materials. So, Kim, thank you so much. And yes, I just saw in the chat, I am a US-based creator, and I do use US terms only. And if I steer off and I use UK terms, I will be sure to specify. So if I'm not specifying, it's automatically US terms. Okay. So here we go. And I left the card on and everything, Kim. So can anyone tell me what this stitch is? Now, not the pattern, the stitch. Guess the stitch. Tell me what the stitch is. Can anybody tell me what the stitch is? I'll give it a few seconds. I see you guys. Yes. It's almost like, why do I even ask? You guys already know the answer to all this. Yes, this is the V-stitch. And now that you guys know the stitch, now tell me the pattern. What pattern is this? Can anyone tell me? I need to have my own little jingle, you know, like Jeopardy does when they have the questions. This is the offset V-stitch in the round. The reason why it's offset is because the V's don't sit inside of the V's. They sit off to the side. So it's offset V-stitch. And then a shameless plug, I have a tutorial for this on my channel for both left and right-handed crocheters. If you're interested in making this, offset V-stitch. Very good, guys. So good. All right. And I do want to preface this. Well, I should have prefaced this before the first square, but I want to preface this by saying these squares were sent to me to assist me with the Border Academy series. I only have one video out, and I will have some in the future, but I'm going to hold on to these and use them for Let's Chat Stitches until the Border Academy gets rolling again. Okay. All right. Next, can anybody tell me the stitch? Tell me the stitch first. What is the stitch? What is this stitch? We have 3 double crochets all in one space. What is that stitch? Yes, if you're saying granny, you are correct. Very, very good. And now, what is the pattern? What is the pattern? And I will tell you, this is the one where you flip every round. You flip this one every single round. And I believe Monica got it correctly. And there's a bunch of you peppering in. Yes, this is the perfectly squared granny square. We turn every round, and we do the half double crochet join at the end of the round to bring that loop all the way to the upper corner. So very good. All right, now, this is not a pattern, so it's only a stitch. Okay, we ready? I'm just so excited we're flying through all of this. It's so good. All right, here we go. Guess this stitch. What stitch is this? I'm giving you a nice close-up. Every stripe is 2 rows. Let's see. Kimberly says moss. Let's see. Battled says single. Okay. Penny says half double crochet. Half double. This is single crochet stitches. Single crochet stitches. Yep. Now we'll show you this. Beautiful handwriting. All the information right there. Single crochet. 6mm clover hook, big twist in teal. So good. All right. I'm having so much fun. Who'd have thunk? All right, you guys ready? I have another one here. I just need to make sure that I'm holding it on the right side. And I believe this is it. Let me double check. Yep, it's this way. Okay. All right. Guess this stitch. And I'll pull it apart so you can kind of see. This one's going to be a little tough because there are lots of stitches that look like it. So what I will do is I will describe the stitch to assist. All right. So this particular stitch that you're looking at right now works up in multiples of 3. And it's composed of a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet all in one place. And then it's a 1-row repeat where the stitch goes into the single crochet. So you've got a single, a half double, and a double. Let's see. We've got Suzette, we've got Sedge, Drunk Granny, half Sedge. Okay. So I'm going to flip the card just to show you. So if you guessed Sedge, you are correct. We have a 6mm Susan Bates hook, big twist, and varsity yellow. Absolutely gorgeous. It's so soft and so squish. I love it. All right. Next. Guess the stitch. Can anybody tell me what this stitch is? Guess the stitch. You have a single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Let's see here. We have answers coming in. And we have Granny Spike, we have moss, we have linen, we have alpine. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, if you guessed this, moss stitch in the round, or moss stitch, because we were just guessing the stitch, moss or linen. Linen is also the same as moss. So, yep. The actual pattern here is moss stitch in the round. And I have a tutorial. I have a tutorial, left and right-handed crocheters. And the colorways are right there. Premier Basics in Ember, Goldenrod, Forest Green, and Burgundy. It's absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? So good. Good job, Kim. All right. For this one here, I think I want you guys to guess the pattern. Yeah. Or I guess it could be a stitch, right? Guess the stitch. Let's keep it at stitch. Guess this stitch. And I'm going to have to pull it apart a little bit so you can see it. Can anybody tell me what this is? Any guesses? I see C to C. We see box. Any other ideas? Block. Okay. Let's flip the card and take a look. Corner to corner. So if you answered C to C, it's correct. We have a 6mm prim hook using loops and threads, soft classic, and mint. Very, very good. Good job, you guys. You guys are so smart. I love it. All right. This next one here. We already know, we've already said the granny stitch, but can anybody tell me what this pattern is? Can anybody tell me? And this particular pattern goes back and forth, and you work it from the bottom to the top. This is not in the round. You go back and forth. Give you a close up. Let me see. Striped granny stitch. We have granny stripe. Okay. Okay, so this is it right here. The granny stripe used 6.5 millimeter and a 6 millimeter Susan Bates. Now, this brings up a really, really great point. Kim actually wrote down a 6.5 US letter K and a 6 millimeter letter J. Can anybody tell me why 2 hook sizes were used for this particular pattern, for this square? Why did we use 2 different crochet hook sizes? Can anyone answer that question? If not, I will definitely answer it for you. Let's see, tension, we have border, starting row, 6.5 for starting chain. Okay, so yes, if you guessed that the reason why we hooked up was for the chain, you're absolutely correct. And the reason why we hook up when working back and forth is to prevent the chain from curling or curving. It assists in making sure that the square lays perfectly flat, as you can see right here. So absolutely great work here. And thank you for writing that, Kim. Perfect. It was a great reminder. So for those of you guys who prefer to work back and forth, bottom to the top, great practice, a great rule of thumb is to always hook up one size for your chain. So, yeah. All right. Last but not least, guess this stitch. Guess this stitch, guys. Can anyone guess this stitch? I see the new one. Guess this stitch. So the waffle V stitch, yes. If you guessed waffle V, that is correct. Great job. And it looks exactly the same on both sides as you saw in the tutorial. And someone mentioned in the comments about the sides. Let me just show you the sides. This is what the sides look like. When you work into your turning chain, like the tutorial suggests, you're going into that top chain. It's to keep this perfectly straight like that. Okay. So if you're interested in making that now, it's stretchy and it's spongy. So when you're not touching it, the edges look like this. And you're like, wait a minute, something's not right there. It's absolutely okay. When you go to pull it, it's perfectly straight. It's because it's very stretchy and spongy. It's meant to be that way. So yeah, very, very nice. Now, I did not, I did not hook up for my starting chain. And as you can see, we have a curve. This is why it's really good to hook up for your chain. Can you see the curl? Now, if I hooked up to, I would have needed to use a 7 millimeter crochet hook because I used a 6.5 here. But if I hooked up to a 7 for the chain and then used 6.5 for the rest, it would have been perfectly straight like this end. But yeah, very nice, very stretchy and all the things. Anyway, please check out this tutorial. And in advance, I just want to send a huge thank you to all of you who have already watched both. I noticed in the comments on the left side, you guys were sending in lefty love. Thank you so much for helping keep the left side relevant, because you guys know you're only as good as your last video. And to keep those tutorials floating, we need support. So thank you all so much for the lefty love. All right. So I do have more boxes. I mean, not boxes. I have more swatches in this box, and I'll save them for next time. We have tons more. So huge thank you to Kim for sending these to me. And I just realized that the printout I was looking for was under the box. Anyway, time for a sip of coffee. Time for a sip of coffee. Amber says, I use my hypes for your tutorials. Thank you so much, Amber. I do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And I don't know if you guys were aware, but like some countries don't get hypes. It's not, I guess I got some emails and some people were like, "Hey, we don't have that feature in our country. So when you're talking to us about hyping, like what is that?" So I had to explain to them, but like I learned that not every country has that hype feature. So if you have it, use it. Absolutely. Let's see. Can we ask questions? Sure. Ask away. If I can catch it, fine. If I don't catch it, the admins will have to catch it. Okay. Also, if you guys have questions in the replay, please sound off in the comments of the replay. I can pull those questions and use them for whipping it with wands. You guys know I love to just babble on about all the things. Give me things to babble about. I would love that for me and for you and for us, right? It's so good. All right. So, okay. I want to get into crochet trivia. Who is wanting to get into crochet trivia? Let's see. We still don't have it in South Africa. I'm so sorry. I like to watch your lefty vids. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So let's get into this crochet trivia. As I mentioned, I have 12 questions. It's not, a lot by all standards, but I wanted to only use 12 because it may spark off some, talking points. I just don't want to run through all 12 and be done with it in like 2 seconds because, I put some thought behind the questions I'm asking you. All right. Let's see. We got one question come in. Have you ever used a clover or moor hook? Yes, absolutely. This project right here, I started this with the clover or moor hook, but I found that my hands work so much better with Susan Bates. So that's what I'm using. And I had to adjust the hook size because I changed hooks. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if you weren't here, I just want to mention this again, that just because you're using one size in one brand doesn't necessarily mean the size of your stitch will be the same if you change brands. So you have to really pay attention to what your stitch looks like with the new brand of hook. Do a row or two and look at your row or two versus what you've done previously. And if your stitches look bigger, you need to hook down one size. And if your stitches look smaller, you need to hook up one size because ultimately you want your stitches to look the same exact size. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into the crochet trivia. And then I will open the floor up for questions after trivia is over. Okay, so we're going to start with history. Crochet history. How well do you know your crochet history? Okay. Let's see. Lemon Bomb, I'll get to your question. Hold on to it. We'll go back to questions after the trivia. Okay. Just hold on to your question. So let's get started with the history. I can't talk today. All right. Number 1, true or false? The word crochet comes from a French word meaning hook. True or false? This is an easy one. Let's see. I'll repeat the question just to make sure everyone heard it. The word crochet comes from a French word meaning hook. We have some falses. We have some trues. Let's see. I'd go with true. Okay. We have some falses. And so I just want to give it a moment for people to actually answer because some feedback that I got was, Juan, you're going too fast. And I can appreciate that feedback. So, okay. We have some falses. We have some trues. And I expected this because the point of this, guys, is to walk away having learned something. It doesn't matter what it is, big or small, you're walking away with something. And so I have a feeling a few of you will learn something. Okay, so the answer is true. The word crochet does come from a French word meaning hook. Yes. And it's spelled C-R-O-C-H-E, crochet. And you pronounce it just like that, crochet. In French, they don't have the T. Sometimes they do have the T. You can actually look that up and you can see it in French in both ways. So, yeah. Question number 2. Crochet emerged as a recognized craft in the 1900s. True or false? I'll repeat myself. Crochet emerged as a recognized craft in the 1900s. True or false? We have trues, we have some falses. Thank you so much, Donna, for gifting a membership. And congrats to Sweet Pea for getting that membership. Let's see. Falses and trues. Oh, this is so good, guys. Thank you so much. When we get the same answer straight across the board, that means nothing's being learned. But when we get both sides, yes, people are learning. And I love this. So the correct answer is false. So if those of you guys answered true, well, you learned something today. You're learning something. So crochet emerged as a recognized craft in the 1800s, not the 1900s, 1800s. Okay. So 1800s. The third question under history. Okay. You guys should know the answer to this if you watch my content. But if you don't, that's okay. You might be new here. So grace is always given for those who don't get this. But if you've been around for a while, you should know the answer to this. All right. You ready? So Queen Victoria, a British monarch from the 1800s, learned to crochet and helped to popularize the craft. True or false? Let's repeat the question. Queen Victoria, a British monarch from the 1800s, learned to crochet and helped popularize the craft. True or false? I knew this one was going to be easy, and I knew that all of you would get like this right. So jury's out on this one. I love it. Well, according to the World Wide Web, the answer to this is true. She learned to crochet in the 1800s, and she helped popularize the craft, according to the internet. Anyway, so that wraps up crochet trivia for history for this time around. We're going to move into techniques. All right, so here we go. Techniques. Who's ready? I'm excited. But did she use Susan Bates? Trish asks. For all we know, Susan Bates was around before then, you know? Okay, techniques. 3 questions, and all of these are true and false. I kept it simple for you guys just so that we can keep the flow going. So the first question I have here is, half double crochet is the most common stitch used in amigurumi to create a tight fabric. True or false? I'll repeat the question. Half double crochet is the most common used stitch in amigurumi to create a tight fabric. True or false? We have some trues. We have some falses. Love that. That means I have a good question here. Okay. So if you answered false, that is correct. False is the correct answer. The single crochet stitch is the most commonly used stitch in amigurumi. Number 2. We ready for number 2? Here it goes. Yarn bombing is the technique of covering public objects in crochet. True or false? Once again, yarn bombing is the technique of covering public objects in crochet. This coffee is so good. Just giving it a moment for the answers to come in. And okay, so let's do it. The correct answer is true. That is what we call yarn bombing. It's more popular over here in the States, I feel, as opposed to anywhere else. We cover trees, park benches, public trash cans, anything we can in crochet when we yarn bomb things. I know in a lot of major cities, there are sections of the city where they will yarn bomb like all the trees on the street or just like all the park benches. But yes, it is yarn bombing. Yep. Okay. Do they do that in the UK too? I haven't really looked into that. So yeah, maybe the UK too. I have a feeling the UK does it as well. Okay, let's do it. Number 3, rip it is the term to abandon a rip it is the term used to abandon a project and pull the yarn out. I'm looking for a specific word. Is it rip it, true or false? Rip it, R-I-P. We rip it when we pull the project apart. I see some trues. I see some falses. I love this. It's so good. Thank you guys so much for giving me you're validating, you're validating all the questions I'm asking. This is so good. So if you answered false, you're correct. So the correct answer is false. The correct term to abandon a project and pull yarn out is frogging. Frogging, ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. So it's frogging. All right. So I know some people say rip it, rip it, rip it, but we're frogging the work. Okay. So those are the 3 questions for techniques. We're going to move on over to the tools. Who's ready for tools? Let's do it. If you guys don't get this one correct, some of these questions I ask are like out there. I mean, listen, let me just ask the question. 2 crochet hooks are used in traditional crochet, like knitting requires 2 needles. True or false? 2 crochet hooks are used in traditional crochet, like knitting requires 2 needles. I better not see one T. Okay, so if you guessed false, you are correct. Only 1 hook is needed in traditional crochet. Just 1 hook. Just 1, not 2. Unless you're doing like some like free form crochet kind of thing, but like that's not, traditional. Okay. Question number 2. According to the CYC, and the CYC is called the Craft Yarn Council, a number 7 yarn is classified as a super bulky yarn. True or false? I'll ask again. According to the CYC, which is the Craft Yarn Council, a number 7 yarn is classified as a super bulky yarn. So let's see. We have T's. I said trees. We have T's. We have F's. Okay. This is a very good question. I love this for us. So for those of you guys who have true, that's incorrect. It is false. The number 7 yarn is classified as a jumbo. Is considered a jumbo. And this is pulled from the CYC's website. I just want to show you this. So a number 6 is a super bulky. Number 7 is jumbo. Okay. So number 7 is jumbo. Number 6 is a super bulky. Number 5 is bulky. Number 4 is medium. Number 3 is light. Number 2 is fine. Number 1 is super fine. And 0 is lace. Okay. Again, the CYC is called the Craft Yarn Council. They are the organization that gives us those classifications. They determine, wraps per inch. They classify yarns according to thicknesses, and they also give us the recommended hook size for the yarn. Okay. So good. What is sport? Sport is number 2. Sport is classified as number 2. Normally number 2. Sport weight yarn is number 2. DK weight double knit is number 3. Aaron's, like Aaron weight, would be classified as like a heavy 4, a light 5. So somewhere in between a 4 and a 5. Okay. So that I'm putting that out there for those of you who are across the pond and beyond who don't recognize these classifications because you follow other guidelines. But yeah. And then I also know in some countries they go by plies, 10 ply, 12, 14, 16 ply. I haven't gotten that down yet. Give me until next Let's Chat Stitches, and then I will show you the differences between all of those. But for now, this is what we're working with. Okay. We have reps per inch right here, and then the CYC weight right there. Okay. We're learning things today. I love this for us. All right. Number 3 under tools. The two most common ways to hold a crochet hook is pencil and knife hold. True or false? Let's see. Let's see what you guys say. I'll ask the question again, or I'll mention the statement again. It really wasn't a question. The two most common ways to hold a crochet hook is pencil and knife hold. And I'm looking to see if anyone said F. Okay, so if you said it's true, that is the correct answer. Now we have the ladlers, and let me just demonstrate. And I will use my wonderful hook gifted to me by Laura from Twisting Stitches. So if you crochet like this is the knife hold. Let me turn my hand around. If you're crocheting like this or any similar way like this, you are a knife holder. If you are holding the hook like this, you are a pencil holder. Now, there are some who hold the hook even further up, and that is called the ladle hold. So you're doing one of these. You're swishing and you're swirling as you're picking up your stitches and your loops and things. Those are the soup ladlers. It's very uncommon. There aren't many ladlers. Maybe there are a lot of ladlers, but we don't really know of them. But you have pencil hold, which is the slight lean, and then you have the knife, which is all the way down. Okay? So the ladlers, I actually know a couple ladlers. I love watching them crochet. I just find it very, I don't want to say entertaining, but it is nice to watch the ladlers go. It's so, so good. The ladlers. All right. Okay, let's move on over to the last portion, which is fun facts. I have 3 fun facts in crochet. I'm going to skip number 1 and go back to it. Number 2, true or false, crochet can be made by a machine. I'll mention the statement again. True or false, crochet can be made by a machine. I'm looking to see if anyone says true, because I've mentioned this many times in my babbling. Okay, I have a few trues in here, which means you're about to learn something. So the answer is false. True crochet can only be handmade, and there are technologies out there that are trying to emulate handmade crochet, but they have not been successful. True crochet can only be made by hand. So I would love to see this machine, whatever it is, and I would like to compare, crochet by hand versus machine crochet. And even with a machine, I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off the way we do it. I don't know. I heard they're trying. Absolutely. The machine one only looks like crochet, but it doesn't work or stretch the same. Yeah, as a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I remember seeing on Temu, they had these like crochet motif type situations. It looks like crochet, but when you go to touch it, it's flat. It's almost like embroidery. It looks like crochet, but it's like embroidery. And that's not true crochet. So yeah, that was the only time that I've seen it where it looked like it, but it really wasn't it. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And I don't think anyone's going to get this right, but who knows? You may surprise me. U.S. President James Buchanan was known as a crocheter. True or false? James Buchanan, former president. He was known as a crocheter. He was known to crochet. True or false? I see truths. I see falses. I love this for us. So good. And it's all good, whether you're right or wrong. It's fine. Participation is all the things. So if you answered true, that is correct. James Buchanan was a crocheter. Who knew? And he was a crocheter at a time where, it was not really popular. for men to be crocheting, you know, and like, how amazing is that? You know, I find that absolutely amazing. James Buchanan was known to crochet. So good. I should say U.S. President, former President, James Buchanan. Okay. Number 3, the final question for our trivia. What popular in the round motif became iconic in the 60s and 70s and still showcased to this day? 2-worded answer. I'll say it again. What popular in the round motif became iconic in the 60s and 70s and is still showcased to this day? We have doily, we have granny square. What else? Okay, you guys are all getting it right. So yes, it's granny square. It's iconic. I still talk about it. It's one of my favorite things. It's my mom's favorite thing. Like, yeah, it's so popular. We love it. So that wraps up the trivia, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. In 2 weeks, I'll come back with some more, you know, different ones. I'm not going to recap the same ones. I'll pick different ones, fun, interesting, little facts, you know, and it might not just, you know, feature these same topics. I may have different topics. We're going to keep it interesting. All right. So good. Now I'm going to open the floor up for anyone who has any questions. Now's the time. Ask me all these yarny questions. I'm here for it. If I can answer it, I'll answer it. If I can't, my team will. Special thank you in advance to the team for helping me answer the questions. I didn't ask them ahead of time, by the way. So thank you so much, Lorene. I appreciate that. Did mom have a nice birthday? Yes, she did. Yep. She had a wonderful birthday. The nurse team actually came in and they came in with balloons. They gave her flowers and, you know, cards and all. It was really nice. So nice. Excuse me. Any questions? Eileen, thank you so much for your kind words. Did mom get her cash? Yes, she did. I made sure it was the last thing because she was looking like she was missing out. But I said, you know, here you go, mom. And she knew once she got the card, she felt inside and she knew it was money. So it made her day. Love the trivia quiz. Love that. Thank you so much, Snowy Cat. Would you use pink and gray in a washcloth using your modern granny square? I personally wouldn't use it, but pink and gray go very well together. And cotton yarn is perfect for a washcloth. So to answer your question, yes, I would, you know, suggest using those two colors. They actually complement each other. It's really nice. Juan, can your rhythm of resilience be made in a rectangle? It can be. It's just a matter of stitch counts. You just want to make sure that, you know, the multiple, you know, follows a particular pattern. Now, I had a swatch made up and it's one of the projects that's sitting in a pile, but if you can manage to chain long enough and get around there, you know, it does work in a rectangle. Yep. Let's see here. Let's see. I am going to border my squares before sewing together. I'd rather not. So is there a wide crochet joining stitch? So wide stitches, for those of you who don't know, they go in between the stitches, like a wide double crochet, a wide single crochet. The method is exactly the same. The only difference is you're placing the stitches in between the stitches. There isn't one per se, but theoretically you can join your squares using that particular stitch. You can. Can you use 2 sizes of yarn in the same project if you use 2 different sizes of hooks? That's a very good question. Can you use 2 sizes of yarn in the same project if you use? Yes, you just gauge your work. You can visually look and just make sure that when those changes are being made, that your work remains consistent. A classic example is you have 4-weight yarn, but there are 2 different kinds of 4-weight yarn. So for instance, Loops and Thread Soft Classic is a thicker 4-weight yarn. Across the pond, they may actually consider that yarn an Aran weight because of how thick it is. But Bernat Super Value is a thin 4-weight yarn. It's slightly thicker than the Lion Brand Mandala. So you may have to adjust your hook size so that when you're working with those 2 different 4-weights, that they look exactly the same. So you actually can just pay attention to your sizes of your stitches. Okay. If I have a corner-to-corner granny stitch blanket with 4 chains to start and extended double, how many stitches would you use for a border to keep that diagonal edge straight? That's trial and error because everyone's tension is different. So, there is no, right or wrong way to do that because it's an actual border. What I would suggest perhaps is chaining up to the height of the stitch and use that as a guide. It's going to be one of those trial and error things. Just, stitch up to the height of your stitch or chain up to the height of your stitch and go from there. Okay. Let's see. How do we know when the Zoom is for members? Are we notified? So if you go to the community tab on Fridays and Sundays, there will be a post that I put up. If you're able to see it, that means you're an official level yarn addict. So that is only for the upper tier of the memberships. So if you're paying $4.99 for your membership, the upper tier, then yeah, $4.99 US, I should say, because different countries have different prices. But yeah, it's only for the upper tier. And you'll see that on Fridays and Sundays. And it's Eastern Standard Time, by the way, guys. Can I use the granny square stitch for a border in a corner? Yes, you can. So let me pull it up. So this is the corner to corner. And what I would suggest that you do, if you want to use the granny stitch, you need to go around your border in between. Go in between these with single crochet stitches. Go all the way around, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Go around there, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, go all the way around, and then you start your granny stitch in your chain spaces, 3 double crochets. Do not chain in between. So it's 3 doubles, 3 doubles, 3 doubles. And that's how you do it. Okay? So good. Any other questions, guys? Good night to those of you who are leaving. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Can you tell if a 4-weight yarn will be thick or thin 4-weight by the ounces on the label? You have to look at the yardage and the ounces. So if you have a lot of yardage for a 7-ounce skein versus another 7-ounce skein of 4-weight with less yardage means thicker yarn. So for instance, do I have loops and threads here? Let me see. I just need a loops and threads label. Let's see here. You know what? Let me pull off the wall. Hold on. So this right here is Loops and Threads Soft Classic. This is a 4-weight, and this is a 4-weight. So this has 354 yards for 7 ounces. This here has 380 yards for 6 ounces. This is a thinner 4-weight yarn compared to this. So you need to look at the yardage and the ounces. Yep. Let's see. Is crochet making knots? It's taking loops. Crochet is the French word for loops. So you're making loops and you're combining loops and doing all the things. Yeah, the Big Twist is a thinner 4-weight yarn, but I have to tell you, it's a great yarn to work with. It's so good. Let's see. So when you hold it, see, not adding tension to it, this looks just as thick as this, but once you apply tension to it, it actually thins up just a little bit. Actually, you can tell that the blue yarn is slightly thinner than the white. So the white yarn is a thicker 4-weight yarn. This is a thinner 4-weight. Yep. Any other questions? Let's see. Have you crocheted any doily? Would you do here on your channel 10? So one of the challenges that we had last week, and for those of you guys that don't know, we have Let's Chat Stitches every other week. And on the weeks we don't do that, we have our challenge weeks. That's a bi-weekly situation. And one of the challenges, and if I'm not mistaken, Trish was the one who suggested it, and it actually came up as one of our challenges. One of the challenges is to crochet a doily. And so I pulled this vintage 1940s crochet patterns, doilies, shrugs, afghans, purses. And so in this book here, we have a recipe for a doily. I think I lost the page. It should be in the back somewhere. I want to show it to you. Totally unprepared. Here it is. So it's Crochet a two-tone doily from the 40s. And I used a medium 4-weight yarn as practice because my hands can't really work with that thread as well as I'd like it to. But this is what I have so far. And I still have like 5 more rounds to go with this. But yeah, so that's the doily. I'm going to try with a thinner yarn. I don't know about thread. I do have thread, but I don't know yet about that. Am I going to design a doily? Probably not, guys. It's just not my thing. But I will read a recipe and I will crochet one until the cows come home. I'll do that. Okay. I find that Pound of Love is a thinner 4-weight yarn than Walmart's own brand. It's called Mainstays yarn, and the line brand Pound of Love suggests a 6mm US letter J hook. It does feel a little thinner until you go to work it up. When you go to work it up, the yarn actually fills out really nice. I don't know how or why that even is, but it is a thinner 4-weight yarn in comparison to loops and threads. I'll give you that. And the hook suggestion for this is a 5.5 US letter I. I've never used a 5.5 I with this. Always a 6, 6.5. You can use a 5.5. You can, but I never do because it's a thicker 4-weight. Yeah. For the challenge, will a cat blanket count? So it depends. Is it a stitch? And if it's a stitch, yes. But if this cat blanket requires multiple stitches, then no, it doesn't work. It doesn't apply. I think Karen Jumbo is a thick 4. It is. Yep. The Karen 1 pounds that you're seeing right here, they're a thick 4. Karen Jumbo, which is like the variegated form of this, it's a thicker 4 for sure. Let's see. Could you suggest one of your triangle-shaped scarf patterns, please? Yes, I can. It's actually one of my favorites. It's not as popular as some of the other ones. I don't know why that's the case. I mentioned this the other day, the Strata scarf. It's one of my favorite triangle scarves because it's big, you know, and you can wrap it around and it's nice and full. I always refer to the whole Lenny Kravitz oversized thing. I really like that. And you can continue going to make it as big or as small as you'd like. So that is one of my go-tos. It's really easy to work up and the texture is really nice. So I really do like the Strata. It's one of my favorites, actually. I may actually have to crochet that in another yarn because of how much I like it. What size is a lap blanket for a person in a wheelchair, and how much yarn would it take to make using C2C? So the lap blanket sizes will vary from person to person. I know online they were saying like 36 by 36. Let me just make sure. I can tell you guys in 1 second. Lap blanket size in crochet. And that size is, so they're giving you rectangles here. So 36 by 42 to 36 by 48. So a 36 by 36, if you're making it square, 36 by 36. Yep. And if you have 4 skeins of yarn, that's more than enough. 4 of these. You can, you know, corner to corner. You do 2 of these as an increase and then do the other 2 as a decrease. And you have your size. And it might not be perfect, but it's there. It's lap blanket size. Juan, what yardage do I need to make up the yellow, white striped pointed shawls? It doesn't say. So for that one there, it's one of those where you keep going until you achieve your desired size. But I will tell you that if you're using a medium 4-weight yarn, like Red Heart Super Saver, you're going to need about 5 of those. And so they come with 470 something yards. So to be on the safe side, I don't like playing yarn chicken. So I would say have around 2,000 yards. Have 2,000 yards handy. And you can just go until the cows come home. Yep, 2,000. Let's see. I have some 3-weight cakes. Okay, let's see. Let me ask. Yes, always go, if you can, refer to the CYC, the Craft Yarn Council, for information. I pull a lot of my information from there as well. It's a great resource, guys, and they have tons of like stitch definitions. They have sheets like, I did a screen grab and I enlarged it, printed it out, but like it's a really great resource. Let's see. Just checking. Does anybody have any other questions? The wheelchair lapcan is 30 by 42. Yeah, you can actually just type it online and it'll say 36 by 42 to 36 by 48. The standard crochet lap blanket or lapcan is typically, so the size is completely up to you. All right. I love being able to do that. I can just be like, look, this is what my phone said. So, yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you hit that thumbie on your way out. Don't forget, if you have any questions for our Whipping It with Wands, please sound off in the comments. I'll definitely take all of those. I'll write them down and I'll have them for talking points for the next session. All right, guys, thank you so much. And until next time, take care. Bye.